it's not that one. This one.
One, it's closer to you.
Yeah, I do.
Actually, let me see if that's the best I can get.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to the York versus Crete game. This York had a parent night tonight, so that was a little fun celebration. York will start back to serve with Kinsley Kern. Okay, Kinsley Kern back to serve. Joust won by Harley Wardine. Kinsley Kern back to serve again. That time targeting the libero. Right to the middle of the donut. Charlie O'Bannon with that kill. Ariana Husenvelt back to serve. Pass received by Claire Cook. Free ball over by the Cardinals. Kill by Harley Wardine. Now Harley will be back to serve. Sydney Jacobson in. So there will be no libero on the floor right now. Serve is just long. Sophie Husenvelt coming in for Kelsey Talkington. And then Charlie O'Brien with the serve. Pass handed by Claire Cook. Set out to Sydney Jacobson. There was 4 contacts, so that means there was no touch off that block. So that is a point for the Cardinals. It is 3 serving 2. O'Brien back to serve again. That time pass held by Kendall Hirschfeld. York. That was a good little play by York. Crete just barely tipped it through the block. Lainey Roger with that kill. O'Brien back to serve. Ball's up. Pass handled by Claire Cook. Free ball over by Sydney Jacobson. They're gonna run. Cardinals are gonna run the middle on that one. That sets York out of block, out of bounds. Kill by Caitlin Krosnick. Kinsey Geek in for Kendall Hirschfeld. Addie Anderson back to serve for the York Dukes. Ball's up. Ace. That was a very good, deep. It had a little bit of some movement, we call it, on that ball. And that really, really distresses that passer. Addie Anderson back to serve again. She's targeting that 5-6 seam. Husenvelt out. Point York. That ball just barely missed the end line. Addie Anderson back to serve again. They're really targeting this libero on Crete, which is probably not the smartest idea. Usually you're liberos are your best passers. And on that note, Sydney Jacobson hits it out. Bailey Bathen in for Addie Anderson. She'll be our passing specialist in this game. Cassidy Eggy back to serve. There's a little bit of Nebraska volleyball with the X, where your outside will hit in the middle, just to give them a different look throughout the game. This is a really good rally. Good hustle by York. It just barely went outside that antenna. Kill by Husenbelt. That was a very good cross-court block. A serve, a swing attack by Kinsey Geek. Free out-of-system ball for York. Sydney Jacobson, a little bit of 4-4. So there, she's hitting from the 4 spot. Then she's going to go very deep cross-court, or very sharp cross-court to the 4 spot. So now Danica Pohl back to serve. Good up by Crete. Up. Husenfeld just barely missed out. Barely just whiffed that ball. Danica Pohl is back to serve again. It is 7 serving 6, or as high schoolers would call it, 6-7. Ball just barely out. That is 1 ace on the night for the York Dukes and 2 errors. We like to have a little 1-to-1 ace to error ratio. That means your ball is getting in. That was a top spin serve by Lainey Roger. York handled that really, really well. And Sydney Jacobson just crushed that ball down that line. That was an amazing pass, set, and kill. Now she'll be back to serve. Let's see if they like to run her in the back row. The Bic. Been a little miscommunication by York, but it did turn out to be really, really good for that, for the Cardinals. McDowell with that kill. Sometimes when you're targeting seams, you're gonna have a little bit of overlapping on passes, but which is good. Just make sure you don't run into each other. Stand serve by Talkington. Set out to Harley, knocked off the block. That is Harley Wardeen's 3rd kill of the night. And for Crete, it is going to be a 3-way tie with O'Bannon, Roger, McDowell, and Husenfeld. Kendall Hirschfeld back to serve. Addie Anderson in for Bailey Bathen to be in our front row. Kendall Hirschfeld back to serve. It is 9 serving 8 York. Good pass by Talkington. That is a huge block by the York Dukes with Kingsley Kern and Addie Anderson. That was a really good close by Addie Anderson. And the ball just went straight down. And now that Crete knows that York has a big block, they're going to try to go off the fingertips, and that could cause them to go out of bounds, which is an okay error. Kendall Hirschfeld just barely hit the top of the net. Other than that, that was a good little service run by Kendall Hirschfeld. Destiny Bussinger is in for Ali McDowell. Pass handled by Kendall Hirschfeld, set back to Addie Anderson. Now Kinsey Kern is back to serve. As you may see, she has that little shield on her face. Mostly athletes will wear that if they have like a broken nose or a fracture so that they don't hurt that nose even more. There's 12, serving 9. Up. They're still targeting Talkington. Out of system ball for Harley Wardeen. Good up by Abby Talkington. This is a good rally by both teams. Swing by Harley Wardeen. Good up. And the net by number 9, Kylie McMillan. So that will go down as a kill for Harley Wardeen. That is her 4th of the night. She leads all players. She's targeting your middle back and your libero. So usually your libero would take that. But that is a very good scene. Just a missed pass by Kinsey Kern, hit the basketball hoop and came down. That is still playable as long as it is still on your side, but Claire Cook couldn't make to that fast enough, but it is okay. Ariana Huskenvelt back in for Kylie McMillan. 13 serving 10, or 10 serving 13, my bad. Up by Claire Cook. Blocked by Cassidy Eggy. And Charlie Bannon. They like to give York a little bit of taste of their medicine too on the block. Serve is up. Pass handled by Kendall Hirschfeld. Set out to Harley Wardeen. That was a good up by Talkington. Oops. That was a little bit of short ball to try to do that little smart trick of a play, but that's an okay error for the Crete coach to understand because, you know, she's trying to make a smart play on it, but it just didn't happen very well. Harley Wardeen is back to serve. Ace by her. The ball almost just hit me. Timeout, Crete, 11-15. We'll be back in about 45 seconds. Okay, we are back. Harley Wardeen is back to serve. Let's see. The superstition is after every timeout, the server will serve the ball out or into the net. Let's see if Harley Wardeen will break that curse. That is a perfectly good serve. Out to O'Bannon. Shank by York. Kill O'Bannon. That is second of the night. Husenfeld in for Talkington. So usually they do that sub because usually your outsides aren't really the best. Some outsides aren't the best passers, and that is okay because they are most likely an offensive player. O'Bannon barely hit that net. Sydney Jacobson did think about hitting that, doing that ball, or hitting that ball, but that landed about 8 inches out. Hey, Addie Anderson back to serve now. It is 16 serving 12. York Dukes. Still targeting that libero spot. Little miscommunication. And that really results in a point for York. The ball went outside the antenna. That is out of bounds. So point York. Addie Anderson back to serve. Husenvelt that received that. Blocked by Kinsey Geek. Timeout Crete. It is 18-12. So Crete is no longer has any timeouts. So they're gonna have to let the momentum of York keep going for the rest of the set. We will be back in 40 seconds. Okay, we are back. Addie Anderson back to serve after that timeout. Let's see if she will serve into the net or out of bounds. That was a very good serve. Back set to Lainey Roger with the kill. Usually your back corners are the best spots for putting balls because usually your left back and your right back are close up to the net or to the 10-foot line. Okay, Bailey Bathen in for Addie Anderson. There was almost an overpass kill, but York handled it. Chase. Ooh, miscommunication. You really need to talk that out. So that way, Sydney, I think Bailey Bathen should take that ball, so Sydney can go back in transition. Ball is hit out by the Cardinals. It is 19-13. Danica Pohl in for Caitlin Krosnick. She usually has this wicked serve. Let's see if she can get an ace here. Still targeting that libero, which is very, very uncommon. Sydney just tipped that block over the ball. Tipped the ball over the block. Excuse me. Just so because usually your defenders will be farther back, so they're gonna have to run. Then it could affect the paths of different hitters or the setter. So that was a very well execution shot. Gonna go back to serve. Almost went down for a kill for Sydney Jacobson. She pounded that ball because Crete didn't really handle that pass really well. She just clipped the net, which is okay. Way to stay aggressive out there. Top spin. That has been a trouble. That will go down as an ace for Crete. Lainey Roger has a very lethal topspin, which is a high-risk, high-reward serve. Yes, it will most likely get you the most aces, but also most likely will get you the airs. Like just there, she just had an ace, then she just had an air back-to-back. Brinley Zeman in for Roger, and McMillan in for Husenvelt. Ace by Sydney Jacobson. They're really targeting that seam. They're targeting a seam where the setter and the libero, so the setter has to move out of the way in order to go and get ready to set. That was a very good out-of-system set for the outside. And Harley Wardine just tools that ball off the block. That is also her 5th kill of the night. That is the most among all players, which is good. That means she has some confidence in her. The passing also from York has been a little shaky to start, but also that's also why they're kind of very, very, like they're in the lead right now. That there is that big play. Crete kind of read that a little bit too well, but that is okay. Claire Cook in for Sydney Jacobson, just to get her her shoulder a little bit of ice off there. She has been pounding these balls up front. That is an error that coaches will really not accept, because the top of the net is fine, because then there's a chance of it rolling over or the ball is out. That we, like, at least the passers have to think about it, not in the bottom of the net where it's a free point. Set point York with Kendall Hirschfeld back to serve. And she misses that ball long. Destiny Businger in for Allie McDowell. So now York is having that 1-to-1 ratio. They have 3 aces, 4 errors, which is okay. Someone should have taken that besides Harley. Harley was clear across that court, but also at the same time, they need to be able to adjust to that set. But it was okay. Pass handled by Kendall Hirschfeld. Set out to Harley Wardine. Set out to Harley Wardine again, and she crushes that ball. Set goes the Duke. Duke's 25-18. That's Harley's 6th kill. So we will take a break. Be back in 2 minutes. Okay, and we are back. New set. If you're just joining us, York Dukes won the first set 25-18. York kind of won that service game with 3 aces, but even though with 4 errors, Crete has 1 ace and 3 errors. Okay, now Destiny Businger back to serve. Ball is long. Allie McDowell in for Businger now. Get a little bit more a stronger pass. Kinsley Curran back to serve. Targeting McDowell. McDowell handles it. Set out to O'Bannon, and she chews that ball off the block. Husenfeld back to serve. Pass handled by Claire Cook. Set out to Callie Wardine, and she hits that ball down the line. Free ball, a little mishandled by that libero. Ball was out. Okay, now Carly Wardine back to serve. Sydney Jacobson in for Claire Cook. So there will be no libero on the floor. Ball over to York. Caitlin Krosnick demolishes that ball. That is her 3rd kill of the night. Excuse me, that is her 2nd kill of the night. Wardine is having a nice service run back here. She's putting pressure on Crete to really, really focus on making a pass first, which is what you really, really want. Ace by Harley. Now they are back to their 1-to-1 ace to error ratio, which is really probably the best circumstance for York. They really, in the past few games, they really haven't been the best passing and service game, but today they really, really have worked on that. Free ball over to York. Sydney hits it in outside hands of the middle blocker, and the ball goes out of bounds. Kill, Sydney Jacobson. Okay, Harley back to serve again. This is a good run for Harley. She has that deep ball, which is really putting passers on their heels, like really, really making them uncomfortable back there. Kill by Lainey Roger. She kind of just downballed that over the net, and York couldn't make a pass on it, but that's okay. O'Bannon back to serve. Addie Anderson is barely hits it inside, which we will take that. That is her 2nd kill of the night. Now she is back to serve. Claire Cook in for Holly Wardine, and ball is up. Really targeting that middle back passer. Pass handled by Addie Anderson. Tip by Sydney. Sydney really needs to take a swing on that ball. Be really, really aggressive. So now she's going to get another. She's going to get out of system ball. Pass handled by Crete. And that was a very awkward hit by Husenfeld, but it did work out for her. So that will go down as a kill for her. That was her 2nd kill of the night. Bailey Bathen in for Addie Anderson. Cassidy Eggy back to serve. Ball is long. Set to Kinsey Geek, our freshman middle. And Crete kind of handles that with ease. Now, man, Sydney Jacobson is really bringing the heat up front, which is really, really good for us. I'm glad she's on our team, and I feel bad for Crete right now. She is just pounding that ball. Okay, Danica Pohl back to serve for Caitlin Krosnick. Ooh, that had some really good movement on that ball, and it kind of, I would say juked out the serve. Well, juked out the passer. It kind of went one way, then kind of like went the other way, and it kind of like caught her like sleeping almost. So now that it puts York at 5 aces. Now that was a very deep serve. Now free ball over to York. Kinsley Kern, setter dump. We like to see those setters get really aggressive because then the middle block and all of them really respect them as a threat, and that really keeps the block modest, and it could put your hitters in a 1v1. Good up by Kinsley Kern, out to Sydney Jacobson. That was a very high roll shot, so Crete kind of read that very easily. Out of his ball to Sydney Jacobson. Crete is kind of handling it with ease, and same with Crete. They're kind of like, no one's really hit the ball really hard or really has placed the ball. Now Crete makes an error into the net. Husenbelt was kind of off balance there, and she kind of just hit the ball into the net. Okay, Crete will take a timeout at 10-3. This is our first timeout of the set. We will be back in a minute. Okay, Crete was kind of fast out of that timeout. Same with York, which was really good because I'm pretty sure the Crete coach technically just said, just get the ball over it and really just focus on our passing. And out of this timeout, Danica Pohl is still back to serve. It is 10-3. Crete is kind of mishandling her serves. Good up by Bailey Baffin. Free ball over by York. You know, Crete can really run their offense. Blocked by Kinsey Eek, the freshman. She has really, really grown as a volleyball player. She plays with my sister. My sister does no longer play volleyball. But when they played, she was kind of like not very strong. That will go down as an ace for York. The student section is being a little naughty towards Crete, but it's just family competition, like everyone. Set out to the outside. Good up by Bailey Baffin. Set out to Sydney Jacobson. She demolishes that ball back to the corner. That is her 6th kill. She is tied with Harley Ward-Dean. So Sydney Jacobson and Harley Ward-Dean are tied with 6 kills, and they lead the match. Okay, Danica Pohl back to serve once again. And ball is up. Pass. The libero kind of slipped there for a second. I wonder if there's a wet spot. The ball was pretty sure that was going out of bounds, but York did put a hand on it because they never know if you touch that ball. So that will go down as Husenfeld kill. Brinley Zeman back to serve. Danica Pohl handles that serve. And Man, Sydney Jensen is on fire right now, which is a good sign for York. She's been kind of struggling in the past few games, but it's really good to see her come out of her shell almost. Okay, so now Sydney will be back to serve, and Harley will be up front. Crete almost has kind of fell apart here in the second set. Error by Crete. It is 15 serving 4. But Crete just needs to calm down. Like, really just try to get... They'll most likely will not come back in the set. But they just need to gain momentum in the third set. Maybe try to push this to a fourth and maybe even a fifth. Harley kind of hits... She kind of hits Zeman in almost in the head almost, but I'm pretty sure it hit her in the shoulder. I'm pretty sure Harley is trying to make sure she's okay, but Crete's not really giving her attention, so she's just going to move on from that point. Free ball by Crete if it gets over. Now let's see where they go. They're going to go to their middle, and she gets that kill. That is her first kill of the night, as the York bench is saying she's a freshman, and of course she is. She is a very well improved freshman. So Crete takes a timeout at 17-4, which is okay. They need to just gain momentum into this third set. As while we were waiting, I could tell you the stats. York has 3 blocks, 6 aces, 4 errors. Crete has 2 blocks, 1 ace, and 4 errors. So they're kind of struggling here in the serving and the passing department. So now your kill leaders is Husenvelt with 3, O'Bannon with 3. But other than that, and Laney Roger with 3. But other than that, besides those 3, there's only 1 registered kill from Allie McDowell. So they just need to really they need to spread their offense a little bit more. But when you're not passing very well, you really can't go anywhere. So with that, Sydney kind of gives them a hard ball, and Crete hits it out again. Crete just needs to focus on passing, like I said. And as you can see, they're doing 3 passers. They're hiding the lower barrel. McMillan's kind of like the only strong passer on Crete that I've seen. But York's defense has improved a lot, which is really, really good. Solo block by Harley Wardine, but Crete, it'll be a free ball over to York. They're going to go back to Harley Wardine, and she terminates. That is her 8th kill of the night. Now, so she leads all scorers now. Cadence McManigal into the game for the first time, and for Bailey Baffin. Sydney is back to serve once again. It is 19 York for Crete. Now they're just lighting it up from the service line. I'm pretty sure they have that green light to really just hammer that ball. Kill by Kinsey Pete. That was her 2nd kill. York is passing really, really well despite having trouble in the past. And since now it's 20-4 York, she's kind of letting other people. She's kind of letting freshmen come in, try to get more experience in this varsity game, because one day they will be in this atmosphere. And this gets them a good look. Now Sydney back to serve. Almost a kill by Kinsley Kern. Pass by Eliza Loosefelt. Set out to Harley Wardine, and she terminates. Her 9th kill of the night, which is really, really good. York has really, really improved since the last game. That is a D ball And Crete just kind of is getting in their own way right now. They just need to keep simple volleyball. Something like that. Okay, Kaylee Gregg into the game for Hollywood Dean. Maybe give her arm a little bit of a rest. Sydney is back to serving again. That is the break that Crete needed probably about 10 points ago. But that will go down as a kill for O'Bannon. That is her 4th kill. Now she leads all hitters. Okay, Kelsey Talkington back to serve. She kind of has this stand serve that kind of has put York a little into trouble. Good swing by Kaylee Craig. Now York is able to. Oh, that was just a miscue on Kaylee Gregg's part. She kind of wanted to. She wanted that ball too badly. She kind of just wanted to terminate that ball a little bit too much. That is a good, smart shot by Kinsley Kern. Especially when they're least expecting it. And also it keeps the defense modest. Okay. Kendall Hirschfeld in for Kinsey Peak. Addie Anderson in for Candace McManigal. So now we have Kendall Hirschfeld, Claire Cook, Eliza Loosfeld, Kaylee Gregg, Addie Anderson, and Kinsley Kern in the game for York. Good push by Addie Anderson. Somebody needs to cover that block. Oh, and it makes it over. That was a very scrappy play by York. And they are rewarded by a huge block. York has become improved. Their block has improved. Their passing, their passing has improved. And their serving has improved. Almost a block by Addie Anderson. That goes to Kaylee Gregg for the pass. O'Bannon for the. We're going to go to. Good scrappy play by Crete. York wins that set 25-6. York has looked the best it has in the season in just that one set, which is very, very confident for York. Okay, so now York leads the match 2-0. The first set was 25-18. Second set was 25-6. So now we'll be back. very quick out of that timeout. As I said, York was very quick out of that timeout. They were quick. They were on the floor about with a minute and a half left, which there's pretty much no else thing to say when you win by 19. But okay, now let's see if Crete kind of like refreshes our mind, kind of just stuff like that. Kinsley Kern back to serve. Slide, and Cassidy Eggy hits it into the net, but that's what we call a slide when the middle blocker likes to go 1 foot behind the setter. Gives a different look for the hitter. Free ball out, or out of system ball to Harley. Libero picks it up. Up by York, out to Harley again, and she is her 10th kill. Now Crete has looked a little bit better passing, but they're kind of a little bit shaky. That was a very well run slide attack, but York was just too much for them right now. Kill by Harley. That is her 11th kill. She is the only one in double digits, with Sydney Jacobson right behind her at 7. Kinsley Kern back to serve again. It's really targeting that middle back and that libero seam. Really make them talk about it. Cassidy Eggy hits it in the net again. It is 4 serving 0. Crete just needs to gain just that one little inch of momentum, and they will be able to get back in this game. But York right now, like that block, if that would have scored for Crete, that would have been a huge momentum change. But Crete kind of gets a little of a freebie, and when Caitlin Crossing just barely tips it into the net. Set out to Harley. That's okay. Harley has kind of been the hot hitter. It is okay to make an error every now and then. That is her first error of the night. So to find that percentage, ace by Crete. Now it's 4-3. Like I said, I just need that little bit of a momentum changer. So to find hitters' percentage, so you would take their total number of kills, minus their errors, if they have any, subtract their swings, or divide by their swings, and you'll get their percent. So Harley is hitting probably at 400. I really don't have the math to do it right now, but she's kind of all out of sorts. She's kind of just tipping all over the place. They really just need to give her a high set ball. The ball has got to go over because that is 3 touches. They're going to go back. Lainey Roger, she is pumped up. She is trying to get this team up and ready. She is taking this team on her back, which she is a junior, which is a very, very good leadership role for her as a junior. So when next year she becomes an even stronger leader on the court. Blocked by Andy Anderson kind of went up and kind of jousted, and Crete called for a lift because the ball kind of landed in between her shoulder and her hands. Like she kind of just threw that up, so we would call that a lift. So now Harley Wardine is back to serve. 5 serving 4. She has that we call it a hybrid. She does a float approach, but she has that top spin on it, and that really makes the ball drop very, very hard. Now we're going to go back to Caitlin Krosnick, and she hits it long. She just barely missed that ball, which is okay. Okay, Claire Cook back into the game for Harley Wardeen. It is 5, serving 5. Husenveld in for Talkington. O'Bannon back to serve. They're going to target Sydney in this rotation because she is a front setter. And that, in fact, they did not. That was a very well execution tip because that person serving will come back. So they're running, and they're can't be able to slow down or break down and be able to get that ball up. Okay, so now Addie Anderson back to serve. A very well soft serve. Good up by her. Free ball. Kinsey Geek just needs to put that ball in a hittable spot. And Crete hits it out. Bailey Batson in for Addie Anderson. The Crete bench and their Crete fans are just trying to get behind this Crete team. They really need to focus in. They just need to take a breath almost. Okay, Cassidy Eggy back to serve. Oh, and that was a very, very scrappy play by York, and it works out. That ball should not have landed on the floor. That was a very off balance by Cindy Jacobson. So now Danica Pohl will be back to serve. She kind of went on a long service run the last set. Let's see if she can go on another one. Out of system ball again by Crete. And Sydney terminates. That is her 10th kill. Now she has reached double digits. Harley is still at 11. She is still hitting 400. Crete probably as a team is hitting probably about 100 right now. There's another error by Crete. They really just need to settle in. Hit the ball in, just get the ball in play, and because they can't let York run away with this set like they did the first set. They're gonna go to their 9 ball, and that Sydney blocks that in it bounds. That is her 5th block of the night. And Crete still only has 2. And York's serving is just impeccable right now. They're better than that 1-to-1 ratio. Husenveld just barely makes that block pay. She tools it right off the block. Brindley Zeman back to serve. Kind of a little bit of trouble for York. And Sydney is going to bail them out. That was a very lucky and scrappy play from York. Now she will be back to serve. That was a very hard driven ball. Out of system by Crete again. Harley hits that ball in, right down the line. Crete block kind of gave her a lot of line to work with. Okay, Cindy Jacobson back to serve again. out of system by Crete. Free ball over to York. They're going to send it out to Harley Wardine, and she's going to off-speed that ball. That was her 13th kill. So she leads all players, with Sydney right behind her at 11. That's okay. Both Bailey Baffin and Sydney Jacobson both went for that ball. And they barely shanked that ball. Harley did get a hand on it, but wasn't playable. Okay, now Kelsey Talkington back to serve. Harley does take a swing on it. Now it'll be back to McMillan, and she hits it long. Point York. Kendall Hirschfeld in for Kinsey Geek, and Addie Anderson is coming in for Bailey Baffin. 14 York, Crete 8, with Kendall Hirschfeld back to serve. Crete runs the middle, and it does work out. Kill by Allie McDowell. That is only her second kill. Destiny Bussinger in for Allie McDowell, who just got that kill. She serves that long. Claire Cook handles that ball with ease. Now Harley goes off the block. Now, kind of a scrappy play by both teams. High off the block, and now Crete will most likely send a free ball over. McMillan does hit it into the net. So point York. Caitlin Krosnick in for Danica Pohl. York is now playing freely. They're able to run offense a little bit, have more fun than Crete. Crete really needs to make a pass, really side out before York runs away with the set. If York wins this set, game over. If Crete wins this, we will be going to a fourth. But York's defense right now is just amazing. Free ball kill almost by Kendall Hirschfeld. You don't see that very often. Now they're going to run Addie Anderson up by Abby Talkington Libero. Free ball by Crete. Kendall Hirschfeld handles that with ease, and they're going to run Caitlin Krosnick behind, and she is blocked by O'Bannon. That is only their third block of the night. But they're coming at very crucial times for Crete. Okay, so now Lainey Roger is in, so is Ariana Husenvelt. And let's see what she can get done behind the service line. Addie Anderson just barely sneaks that ball by the block. That's her fourth kill. Okay, Harley Wardine back to serve now. There is no libero on the serve on the court right now. Let's see if Harley can get this service run to end the game. Free ball to Sydney. She's good up by Abby Talkington. O'Bannon. Kill by O'Bannon. Now she is just a freshman for Crete, and it really now she will be back to serve. The benches for Crete and York are are a little bickering, but like I said, it's just friendly cancer. Sydney powers that ball through the block. Now Kinsey Geek will be Kendall Hirschfeld's front row. Um, Addie Anderson is back to serve now, and let's see what she can get done behind the service line. Ace. Crete is having trouble talking between scenes. There was some quick chatter between the Crete coach and the down ref. That is York's 5th error of the night. Crete only does have 4, but they're keeping the ball in play, but they're not really serving aggressively, and that proves that they're only their 2 aces with York's 7 aces. And of course, the commentator Jinx, 3 aces now. They will be targeting Cindy Jacobson in the service rotation. She is the hot hand in the front row right now. And that way she has to worry about passing before she has to go hit. Now, Claire Cook did take that seam from her. So the problem is that Kinsey Kern was a back row setter, but the down ref and up ref did not catch that. So that would become a point for York. So now Crete will just take a quick timeout at 13-19. York just really needs to push for this last 6 points, and we'll be right back. Okay, and we are back. Crete was very quick out of that timeout. They really need to make a quick and hard push right here. Danica Pohl is still back to serve. She is giving this Crete passing lineup a little bit of trouble. Like there again, that was almost a perfect pass. But Leanie Roger does find the seam and she tools it. So she has 5 kills. Charlie O'Bannon has 6. And those are really the only 2 have really stepped up in the last few points. And Husenveld, Sophie, has 4 kills. The ball was sailing long, but Danica Pohl does decide to play it. That was kind of a misfortunate event for Crete. That was a very easy ball from Cindy Jacobson, but she does get the kill. Now her and Harley are tied at 13. Remember, these are sophomores, so they still got 2 more years to go, which is very, very bright for their future as York Duke volleyball. And McMillan does sell that long. She has not registered a kill tonight. She really hasn't been gotten the best serves because York has been serving so well. So the setter's kind of just throwing her the ball, and so she's kind of having to adjust really, really quickly, and she's not able to hit the ball in play. So now York is back to their 1-to-1 ratio for ace to air. free ball by York. I'm guessing they're going to run the middle here. And they do. But that ball does sail wide. That is a break for York right there. Okay, so now Kendall Hirschfeld and Kenzie Geek will come into the game. Or Kendall Hirschfeld will come into the game for Kenzie Geek. Same with Addie Anderson for Bailey Bathen. Now, it is 22, York 15 for Crete. So now, it's still not too late. McMillan is still struggling on that right side. They need to give her a higher set because the York block is just eating her up right now. That was a very aggressive swing, but it does go out. So now this will give York match point. Kendall Herschel back to serve. Let's see if she can get this ball in play. The last 2 times she has got the ball out, and she does, and they're going to run O'Bannon. O'Bannon is saying not yet to York. Now, Destiny Bussinger is in for Allie McDowell. No, she just has to get this ball in play. It doesn't have to be very hard, but it's got to be hard enough where York struggles with it. And that was kind of a lollipop, but she does give it up from an attempt by Addie Anderson. Now they're going to run Carly Wardeen. She does get blocked, but good thing Kendall Hirschfeld is there. Now, Carly Wardeen will finish the game off. She was kind of the hot hand tonight. She did have 14 kills. Sydney Jacobson did have 13. So Carly just barely beat her. York wins the match 3-0. Set 1, 25-18, 25-6, 25-16. Thank you and have a good night.